Baby chicks. Aren't they so cute? Let's talk about brooders. Okay, today let's talk about chicks and brooders and brooder systems. I've tried a few different systems, and I'll show you a few of my successes and tell you about a few of my not so successes. But what we're in front of right now is one of my portable brooders. It's basically an old trailer, travel trailer, tent trailer, that I've converted into a portable brooder. And I'll go over some of the things that work for me and some of the things that don't work so well. But overall, chicks, you got to keep them warm, you got to keep them dry, you got to have fresh water, lots of feed, and you got to have something to do. You kind of get bored, you know. Okay, so here's one of my geeky innovations. Basically, it's a travel trailer that I've converted into a brooder. And I really like it because I'm able to move it out to the field when they're done broodering, and also take all the excess, I guess, the waste that's in the actual trailer, and then move it out to exactly where I want it and put it in the field somewhere, versus having all the shoveling and all the extra labor involved in moving chicks and shoveling all the litter. So it's really handy for me that way. As well, it's a good size for about 100 chicks, and I'm able to easily brood 100 chicks in there. And it works overly really well. So I'll just get a little closer here. So what we have in here is we have, I guess, this hover brooder setup, which is really good for exterior brooding, or brooding not in a building, because the challenge in my climate, especially in the spring and the fall, is that it gets cold. And trying to keep the temperature just right for the chicks and keep them warm is definitely a challenge. So the hover brooder kind of acts like a mama hen, and it basically has the heaters underneath, which I'll show you in a second. And the chicks can regulate their own temperature by going out and under from under the brooder. You can see over here it has legs like a table, and the chicks can go underneath, and the lights are underneath. And they can get warm or hot or wherever they want to go, so they can escape it when it gets hot or go underneath it when it gets cold. So I really like that. Also, I'm really employing, I love the nipple drinkers, the chick nipple drinkers, and I just put them on some buckets, keep it simple. I also used PVC tubes in the past, but the buckets hanging from the trailer seem to be the easiest way to do it. And as you can see, they pick it up pretty quick. They're nailing it, and you can hear it, which is a good sound. Keeps the water amazingly clean, and also reduces some of the thickness there. And then simply in the front, I separate the feed in the front here, and they come out here in the front with their trays and get feed. Obviously they're hungry here, they've already knocked their trays over, they want some more food. But really good system overall. I find this hover brooder can probably support upwards of 150 to 200 chicks, but I only do 100 in here just because of the square footage. Now a little bit shaky here, but I'm going to open this up. I put this on hinges so I can access this. And there's the baby chicks underneath there. And you can turn on whatever lights. You get two different lights, and it keeps it nice and hot in there. So I really like it. And then for ventilation, for air ventilation, I have the sides, this side here and this side here, which can come down with, of course, mesh, so no predators can get in, as well as the access hatches for myself, so I can get access to it. So, but no, this is definitely a winner for me, and a great system. And like I said before, when I'm done with this, I can hook up my quad, and I can drag it out to the field, out to the pasture pens, and just quickly transfer them over to the pasture pens with little easy as possible. So, okay, here's another system I'm trying for brooding. It's basically one of my pasture hoop houses that I've enclosed pretty much fully, except for some ventilation on the top, up top there. But what I'm trying to do here, I also put it on skids to get it off the ground, and put some boarding and some insulation underneath the chicks so they're not directly on the ground. The ground gets cold and also gets wet. But I'm trying just to use one of these hoop houses just because it's a little bigger. And it's basically a quick shed. Of course, there's risks with this, of course. If the tarp breaks or high winds rip it off, that's trouble for sure. I have to move pretty quick. But I'm just trying it to see how it works. But this so far is working pretty good. I'm able to put the chicks, again, using the hover brooder. So you can see, once it clarifies here, you can see the hover brooder here again with the nipple drinker buckets and the feeders on the sides. And what I've done is I've done a little separation in the front just to put some wood chips and some of the feed out front. But the system's working really good for these chicks. They're able to keep nice and warm. I can roll the back up, and I also have ventilation here in the front. So it works pretty good, but we'll see. Like I'm not convinced in this one yet. A little hard to move around for myself. I look at convenience for myself again. I find that if my brooder isn't set up right, then I get a little lazy as far as changing out the litter and making the litter nice and fresh, which is definitely very important for disease prevention as well as overall clean air. So we'll see how this goes, but right now I'm pretty happy with it. Oh, one little guy there looked like he wants to get out. So here's another trailer that I converted into a brooder. Now this one wasn't so much of a success because the bottom line was the trailer square footage was too small. So when you stuck a hover brooder in there, it basically didn't allow enough chicks to move around. So it just wasn't big enough for what I wanted to do. I might use it in the future for some certain batches, for some custom batches for people who want certain types of birds. But right now I'm not finding it working for me, so I'll probably end up taking that lid off. And I'll probably end up using it for the pigs. And here you're looking at how I brooded my very first baby chicks about a few years ago. In a way that works, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to anyone. Basically a kiddie pool with some insulation underneath it in my garage. Works. Put a few cardboard on the outside to keep them in, and they're good to go. But it definitely is messy. If anyone's ever brooded chicks inside a house or in a garage, they leave a thin layer of dust everywhere. Definitely don't recommend it. I used 2 of these kiddie pools in my garage, and I guess that it worked, but not the greatest method. Thank you.